So next up, we have the North Dakota Egg Hall of Fame induction. And to do that, to make that announcement, will be Mr. Tim Ost.
We've got a couple of honorees here this evening for the Ag Hall of Fame, North Dakota Ag Hall of Fame. Dr. George Rogler. And George was born in Matfield Green, Kansas on April 5th, 1913. He attended and graduated from Kansas State University, where he received a Bachelor of Science degree in agronomy in 1935. He then went on to marry Vera Thompson in Manhattan, Kansas on March 20th, 1936. Dr. Rogler continued his education at the University of Minnesota, where he received a Master of Science degree in plant breeding in 1942. 1941, Dr. Rogler defined the effect of grazing intensity on animal production per acre and on gains per head. His research proved the benefits of spring grazing deferment on livestock gains and range condition. Another major accomplishment of his making, the initial selections resulting in the release of Rodan Western wheatgrass, named in his honor as a contraction of Rogler and Mandan. Rodan is the only Western wheatgrass developed in North Dakota for its unique climate conditions. Western wheatgrass was then named the North Dakota State Grass in 1977. His research took him around the world, including Peru and Brazil, and based on his lifelong research in North Dakota, he authored and co-authored 90 scientific publications on grass breeding and grassland management. He and his wife Vera enjoyed dancing, mostly ballroom and square dancing. They have 2 children, Joan and Susan, both of whom are married, 5 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren. After his retirement, the couple traveled extensively to most U.S. states and all continents except Antarctica. Dr. Rogler passed away in 2003, but the many practices and grasses he developed are still being used today. And his research efforts have greatly benefited North Dakota farmers and ranchers for the past 67 years. Would somebody please come forward and accept the award? We have a special guest in the audience as well, a friend and co-worker of Dr. Rogler. Would John Berdahl please come forth? He wanted to say a few things about George Rogler.
Well, George Rogler was my friend and mentor for about 25 years when I worked at the Northern Great Plains Research Lab at Mandan. I really appreciate the opportunity to give a few remarks about George. He had a tremendous impact on ranching and the livestock industry in the Northern Great Plains. He loved his work. He had a keen understanding of grasses and grassland plants, and he knew how to manage them in rangeland and pasture situations. I think about the development of Nordan, crested wheatgrass. George really knew what he was doing when he picked the parents for Nordan. It's an outstanding grass that has wide adaptation, hardiness, and it's, well, in addition to that, both the seed production and just the seed handling qualities of it are good. It's grown way up in that Peace River area in northwest of Edmonton, Alberta. It's grown in the foothills of New Mexico and lots of areas in between, primarily for early season grazing, so they can defer grazing on native rangeland till later. George was really the first one to recognized the potential for Russian wild rye. This grass is used more extensively in Canada than in the States now, but George was the first person to do breeding work and grazing management studies with Russian wild rye. He released the first variety of Russian wild rye called Vinyl, named after a plant explorer. And after he released Northern crested wheatgrass, he kind of transitioned more into grazing management studies. And he's done a lot of work on restoring depleted rangeland, done some team research on nitrogen cycling in grasslands, developed some strategies for helping us get through these periodic drought years that we have in this part of the country, and just made a lot of contributions. I'm just touching on a few of them. He was a fun person to be around. He could communicate with anybody, and it served him well in getting some of his research practices, out into the public and being used. He truly belongs in the North Dakota Ag Hall of Fame. And George and his wife Vera were just a gracious, fun-loving couple. And I'm just so happy that George's family could be here to celebrate this award now today.
Thank you, John.